know how to get to the next step. Because they like talking to me on the phone, getting the emails and getting all text messages from me. But when we get to the appointment part,
can you give me an example? Do you have someone in mind in your head that we can use as an example?
Well, they actually, there was a Muhammad. You could look him up, but he's an example where we set everything up for the appointment, and when the appointment came, it was canceled. So that's an example. And I was waiting at the office for this gentleman to come, and they changed their mind and they didn't tell me. So so that's just an example where I was at the office waiting for them. But there's been others where they will not set the appointment with me.
Okay. Where are they in the process when you're trying to get the appointment?
Majority of the time, they're in the next 0 to 3 months.
And time frame, how long are you talking to them on the phone, that first initial phone call?
Most likely it's the first to the second time that I have spoken to them, and then I try to get to the appointment as soon as possible.
And how long is the phone conversation?
The first call would be a little bit longer, like maybe 8 to 10 minutes. Okay. I don't know if that's long.
No, it's really not, depending on their level of, conversation. What I had found in my personal practice was the longer the conversation I had with them, the lesser of a chance I had of them really setting the appointment, because I got caught up in really overqualifying them on the phone. And it's easy while you're in the flow of a conversation to keep that conversation going and answer all their questions. I always went back to, that's why I would love to just meet with you face to face. It's so much easier for us to meet face to face and go over all of these questions so that we have a great clarity of expectation, because what's most important to me is meeting your expectations. And when we meet, I can see facial expressions, and I like to actually show you properties online to see what's really resonating with you, because that helps me be better prepared to give you a higher quality of service. Does that make sense? And what happens, depending upon where that lead is in the process, they usually don't understand the value of meeting, because all they're thinking about is, I just want to see a house. So it's up to us to explain the value of that initial meeting. So there's so many different scenarios that can take place. That one in particular that you were speaking of, that not the one that didn't show up for the appointment, but another one, did they want to see a house and you were meeting them at the office first? What did that look like as far as trying to get the appointment?
Exactly that. They wanted to see the property, but I wanted to qualify them first.
Okay.
I wanted to sit down with them and have the contract signed, so that I'm not spending hours and hours with somebody who's not actually my client.
And I don't know what that conversation entailed. The best way to handle those is, I totally cannot wait to show you this property. Let me just ask you a couple questions. What was it about this house that attracted you to make you want to see it? Oh my gosh, it was on a corner lot. It has a garage. We've been looking for a while. It just has everything that we want to see. Beautiful. If there was another house that had similar criteria, would you be interested in seeing that one as well? 9 chances out of 10, they're going to say yes. Or they could say, I've seen everything that's on the market. Here's the deal. My job is to protect your investment. I want to show you this property. However, I want to make sure that you're not going to overpay for a property. I would love to sit down and meet with you and go over everything that's on the market so that we are prepared when we go to that home, if you want to put a contract on it, we already know our numbers. Because the last thing I want to have happen is we get to the property, you fall in love with it, we don't have our ducks in a row, and someone else comes in and puts a contract on it and we weren't prepared. I don't want you to lose a home. They don't think that. We think they think that because that's all we know. And have you ever had a client like lose a property because they weren't prepared?
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's really frustrating for the client. It's really frustrating for us because then our job's twice as hard because they already saw the property, they lost it, and then now they have an expectation. And I always explain to them that I don't want to set an expectation, because if we go see one property, you're now putting a level on that property. And do you know what your payment would be on this particular home? And sometimes they say, well, here around in here. Here's the thing. I want to make sure that we're not that we're not going to over exceed your budget. Because of taxes and insurance, taxes are different in all different places. Taxes are different based on square footage. I want to make sure that you are going to be 100% comfortable with this payment before we go and show you the Morton steak when you can only get the cheese dog. So let's just make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. If they're not willing to meet based on all of those principles, they're a client you probably don't want anyway because they're going to ghost you.